Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's Naveen joining the call. Can you all hear me, guys? Could you quickly type in a yes in the chat window if you can hear me fine? Great. Thank you, guys. Good evening, and wish you all a happy New Year. I think okay. I think we joined once earlier, but still a happy New Year to everybody, guys. Okay. So let's get started today. Today we have covered about, I think in the previous session we have covered about the classes and functions. Today we will talk a little bit about the data frames, and then we'll if time permits, we'll also get started with machine learning, guys. Okay. But let me bring up this one. Today for the data frames, I'm going to directly start with a little bit of coding, guys. Data frames are like NumPy arrays, but in NumPy arrays you can have the same kind of, in data frames you can have different kinds of data columns, guys. Okay, let's try to understand what that means. But before that, let's take a look at this. Okay, so here is the data that we are going to be looking at. This is in a CSV file. CSV stands for country, comma separated values, and select this one. Here's what we have. Okay, so we have country name Aruba, country code is ABW, birth rate is 10.24, and internet users is 78.9, and it's a high income country, which means it's a rich country is one way to think of it, guys. Okay, so let's come here, and looks like my Chrome is running a little bit slow. My computer is running a little bit slow today, but let's give it a moment. Okay. Back to the data. Country name is country name, pretty straightforward. And country code is the abbreviation. If we go all the way down, we have close to 195 countries from Aruba to Zimbabwe. And birth rate, let's try to see what is birth rate, guys. Okay, in Aruba, birth rate is 10.244. So if we come here, okay, let's try and slow. There you go, give another try. So here is birth rate. If you go to Google, okay, take a look at this. The birth rate for India is 17.59. It is birth 1,000 people is what is the meaning of it. And it is more precisely the crude birth rate in a live births per 1,000 people. In other words, for every 1,000 people, how many children are being born is really how many live children are being born is what is birth rate, guys. That is the definition of a birth rate. And there it is. Birth rate in a period is the total number of live births per 1,000 population, which means like for every 1,000 people, how many children are being born, guys. Okay. Then we have internet users. So in Aruba, for every 1,000 people, 10 children are being born. And the internet users is 78.9, means in this country, for every 100 people, 78.9. That's roughly 79 people have internet access every 100 people. It's a rich country, high income country. Take a look at Afghanistan. For every 1,000 people, 35 children are being born. And roughly 6 people have access to internet for every 100 people. It's a low income country. It is just coming out from the war and things like that. So people are not yet there in terms of income. There's Angola. For every 1,000 people, 45 children are being born. 19 people have access to internet for every 100 people. It's an upper middle income, reasonable, guys. Okay, so it looks like India is somewhere around 18 people. I'm sorry, 18 is the birth rate, is what we can see from Google. And let's get into a little bit of action, guys. Let's say come here. So we'll start with print OS, get Back to Chrome. It's like the Chrome is running really slow today. There you go. Okay, let's see if this will run, guys. So, guys, just waiting for this to come up. There you go. Paste it. Okay. Right. So look what happens now. OS is like operating system, guys. It's a package. It gives us some utility functions like get CWD, CHDIR, many other functions are there which will tell us, which will give us some common functionality, general functionality used in many scenarios, guys. Okay. Get CWD is get current working directory. It is going to tell us where the Jupyter is going to point to. So let's give it a moment. And okay, sorry about that. Guys, are you there? Can you just give me a quick yes, please, if you're still there, if you can hear me? Okay, great, thank you. So looks like my Jupyter went down. I'm going to restart this. I'm gonna close this one. Sorry about that, guys. Just give me one moment. Okay, and go to Anaconda. I can just type in Jupyter notebook. Just type in enter. Okay, sharing the screen again, guys. Somehow it went. Hope you can see the screen. Okay, thank you. And let's see what we have here. Cancel. Okay, we'll see if we can speed up a little bit, guys. Let's give it a moment. It just takes a minute or two before getting started, but after that it should go reasonably fast. There you go. So we'll go to new, let's say Python 3. Let's hope we create a new notebook. One more time, say new, Python 3. There it is. Okay. So there it is, print os.getCWD. Notice it says OS is not found. That is because we did not import the package. Say import. Yes. Found. Okay. That's right. So now we have imported this, say get CWD. It right now tells us that our Jupyter is pointing to this particular directory, guys. Okay, that's what is happening here. So now what we'll do, we will go ahead and try to read this file stats, and here is the full path in my computer. Okay, here we go. So notice PD. So one more time, it is giving us an error. Let's see if we can understand this. I'm going to, so notice complaints PD is not defined. In other words, we did not import PD, which is pandas. So let's say, oh, it has been working well until now. Only now I'm running into these issues, guys. I'm not sure if, okay, let's say pandas is PD. Pandas is a package for data frames, guys, and we'll try to understand what is data frames, guys. Okay, so almost everything is slowing down here. Okay, so now if we say pd.readcsv, PD is a friendly name or an alias for pandas package. Pandas is a package which gives us data frames. We're doing a read CSV. Read CSV will allow us to read a file. We have a file which is a demographic data, and it is a comma separated file. I'm going to, okay. So now if you take a look at this one, take a look at this, guys. Here is, let's see if I can close some of my applications here, guys. Give me one moment. Okay, one moment, guys. I'm again sharing my screen. Sharing the screen now, guys. Sorry about that. So there it is. Let's say cancel this one. Okay, one more time. We'll create a new notebook. Sorry about that, guys. There you go. Looks like it's coming up. Strange. The whole lead was working fine, guys. Just now, it is all these things are happening. So bear with me, slightly beyond my control. So let me run up to here. See if it gives us any luck. And run up to here. There is read CSV. It complains about OS. So I think I did not import OS here. No, something is wrong. Okay, I'm going to just sign off and then relog in, guys. So try one last time. It looks like I need to sign off and relog in, guys. Just bear with me. Sorry about that.
Sorry everyone, I think there is a technical glitch or resource person in, so he'll be joining in a few minutes. Till then, could you please rewind whatever the topics has covered. So we will have the session today. Don't worry about that. Please rewind the previous topics.
Okay. Mansa, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. So let's go. I'm in and sharing my screen. Let me say. Thank you guys. Just give me one moment. I'm sharing my screen here. Oops. Something is happening. Can you, Mansa, can you see my screen? Guys, can you see my
No,
screen?
sir. No, we can't.
I didn't have any problem the whole day. I don't know why the problem is just coming up. Okay guys, I'm trying again. Looks like you should be able to see my screen. And let's say, so this one. Back to Jupyter Notebook. Extremely sorry about this one, guys. Slightly beyond my control, but give me one moment. I'll copy this. This is okay. The Jupyter is coming up. One more time. My apologies. Send new Python 3. Looks like it is going fine. Okay. So let's get started, guys. So one more time, real quick. It's right now pointing, the Jupyter is right now pointing to a different directory, which is C users and admin, guys. We're going to import the pandas as PD and pd.read CSV. There it is. Okay. So now this is a data frame, guys, and to look at to understand data frame, let's take a look at this. Here is stats. Take a look at this, guys. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me fine. Can you give me a quick yes, please? Can you all hear me fine? Oops. Okay, thank you. Okay, now take a look at this, guys. This is what we have. So if we compare this one, for the sake of simplicity, I'll bring up this one and compare this to NumPy. In NumPy, if you take an array or a double dimensional array, which is like a matrix, this here, you can imagine what you can have is you can have only similar kind of data. All this can be either numerical or textual data, but notice what we have is not only do we have numerical data, so this is the numerical data, we also have textual data. Okay, this is one way to think of it. When you think from a columns perspective, when you think from a rows perspective, when you think from a columns perspective, again, one more time, all the columns are either numerical or textual in NumPy arrays, whereas this one has textual data, and then there is numerical data, and textual data. So it can have a combination of textual data and numerical data, guys. It is like an NumPy array, but you can have textual data and numerical data is what we can think of it, guys. Now, what is happening is read CSV. What does that do? That will read this file, and it is creating a data frame. Okay. And what do we do? Well, that creates a data frame. PD is a package name, read CSV is a function. If you look at stats, now notice this one, scroll all the way down. It has about 195 rows and 5 columns. So what can we do? We can do a few things with it. Let's say stats.head. For sake of simplicity, I'm giving it stats.head. There is head will give you the top 5 rows and then all columns. Then you have stats.tail. Notice this one will give you again the last 5 rows and the all the columns, guys. Everybody with me, guys? Quick yes, please. Are you catching it? Okay, so let's take a look at a few more things that we have here. Stats head, stat states, and for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to run this one, guys. We'll say OSCHDIR. Okay, generally, what we do is all our data sets that we store, we save in a certain directory or a folder. That is the datasets folder. And now when you see os.chdr, what will happen is if you ask os get cwd, if you ask Jupyter where you're pointing to, it's pointing to this directory. The advantage is next time you do a read CSV, you don't need to type in the full path. You can just give the name of the file. One time, notice stats is there. There are your 195 rows and 5 columns. And now take a look at this, guys. A few functions which are there. Length will give you the number of rows. It's telling how many rows are there. If you say stats.columns, it will give you the number of columns. Country name, country code, birth rate, internet users, and income group. Then you can say length stats of columns. That will give you the number of columns. Now, why we are executing all these functions one by one, that is what we'll try to understand, guys. We will be executing these combinations of these functions when we run a machine learning algorithm, so that's where they're going to be useful. So it is first better to be familiar. That is why I'm introducing you to some of the functions, guys. So if you say stats head of 3, by default head will give you the top 5. If you just want 3 of them, you can give 3. If you say, let's say 10 of them, it will give you the top 10 rows. Many times what will happen in the world of analytics is you may have 100, 1000 or 1 million rows in that data frame. You don't look at everything. You just want to get a feel of top 10, top 20 or top 30. So what can you do? Head come to your rescue. Next, I repeat that. Say stats.tail and let's say 10 of them. So notice the last 10. Cool, guys? And now increasing the complexity a little bit, guys. Let's see what this does. Stats.info. If you say stats.info, what it is doing is it giving you all this information. This is called metadata. It is indicating that it is an object of data frame. There are 195 entries, which means there are 195 rows. It goes by a zero-based index. There are totally 5 columns. And for every column, it is telling you object or float. Object means textual data. Float means numerical data. So if it sees textual data, it will treat that as an object. Object means, again, it's like a textual column versus float is like our numerical column or integer. If it finds decimal, it will give you integer. I'm sorry, if it finds decimals, it will treat that as float. Otherwise, it will treat that as integer, guys. Okay. So in other words, this is giving you the metadata. And then it says, hey, there are 2 columns which are float, 3 columns which are object, and this is the amount of RAM it's taking in your memory. In other words, once in a while, this is more of an FYI. In other words, we don't really need to worry, or we don't really care that much, but we generally try to understand what are our data types. And notice 195, 195, 195. These tell us if there are any missing columns, missing values, more precisely, or not, guys. So info gives you what is called the metadata, guys. That is something you need to manually remember. Next, take a look at this describe. Notice we have 5 columns here: country name, country code, birth rate, and so on. But birth rate and internet is coming up here. What's on describe gives you basic statistics or descriptive statistics. What is descriptive statistics? Trying to understand minimum, trying to understand maximum. What is the median? What is the mean? What is the standard deviation? What is count? Count is total number of rows. Okay. So in other words, let's try to understand this, guys. Take a look at this. What is the definition of birth rate? Birth rate is telling you in a particular country how many children are being born for every 1,000. How many live children are being born for every 1,000 people. So what is happening? The minimum is 7.9, means around the world there are some countries for every 1,000 people they're giving birth only to 7.9, which is close to 8 children. And take a look at the maximum. In some countries, up to 50 children are being born for every 1,000 people. That is maximum. Mean is 21. That means around the world, if you take all the countries around the world, for every 1,000 people, 21 children are being born. These are the stats from United Nations, guys. Then take a look at the median. 50% is the median. Median is the midpoint. If mean and median are close, 21 and 19 are very close, that means it's okay. There's no extreme values. There are no outliers, guys. So here, because they are close, we can go by mean. If let's say this is too far away, let's say this is 40 or 60, then that means there is a presence of an outlier or an extreme value, is what it means, guys. Okay. So this is the story of the birth rate. We understand how many, there are some countries which are giving birth only to 8 children for every 1,000 people. There are some countries which are giving birth to 50 children for every 1,000 people. On an average, we can say roughly about 21 children are being for every 1,000 people. Next, come to internet users. Start with the minimum. There are some countries where 0.9 means 1. Only 1 person has internet access for every 100. Maximum is 96, means for every 100, 96 people have access to internet in some countries. On an average, it's 42 around the world. Median is also very close. 50% is the median. 25% is called the first quartile, and 75% is called the third quartile. If you recall, we briefly discussed about first quartile, second quartile, and third quartile in the earlier sessions, guys. So what is special is it is only giving, what is this? This is the basic statistics. Descriptive statistics is what it is. It is giving these statistics only for numerical column. You cannot perform statistics on textual data. You can perform on numerical data, so it is only giving the basic statistics on the numerical column. So what is this one? These are basic insights. Being able to understand, how many children are born, how many people have access to internet. These are not the greatest insights, but they are definitely insightful is what we can say. Everybody with me, guys? Quick yes, please. Oh yeah, sorry about that, guys. I have actually shared the data here. So it's going to be, one moment, let me just double check that. Slash, I think it is this one. And sharing the screen again. So here is the GitHub link, guys. I'm sharing the screen one more time. Come here. There you go, guys. So this is part1.python. All the code is here. Step by step, what I have run all the days is here. And if we go back, here is the AP skills development. This is the initial days. You can go ahead and download, guys. This will, I will not bring it up. It will take too much memory and things like that. So this is the Python part, and this is the thing. So make note of this one. I will also copy this and paste this in your chat window. This is a chat window. You can refer to this one, guys. Okay, thank you, guys. In coming up days, every weekend I will go and I will be uploading these things. Just try to be a little bit patient, guys. All right. So let's come back here. So that is, I think we were looking at describe. So now again, describe.transpose, as the name suggests, if you take a look at this, it is going to transpose it. But the rows have become columns, columns have become rows. You can also say transpose.t. Notice that will also transpose. If you want to transpose, again the rows are becoming the rows, columns are becoming the columns. T is a short transpose, guys. So to the stats.head, let's go back to our original data frame. So there it is, top 5 rows and all the columns. And what we'll do, now take a look at this, guys. We're going to increase the complexity a little bit. What we are doing is the column names. Notice country, space name, country, space code, birth rate, internet, everything has a spaces in between the column names. So what we are doing is, we're taking all these column names and we're putting into an object called list. We'll call this as a list. Okay. Then try to take a look at this one. If you say stats.name, notice it will give you an error. What's happening is you cannot access a single column. We are trying to access, earlier when you say head, it is giving you all the columns. But if you want to, let's say, access only column, you cannot access it like that, stats dot. You can access it like this. Let's say put this one here and this in single quotes and then on that. So there it is. If you want to access a single column, you have to give a bracket like that, guys. Now take a look at this. There's another way. What we will do is, come here. Here is stats.head. For the sake of discipline, we'll run one more. And notice the country space name. Then come here. Here's stats.columns, country name, country code, rate, and so on. And what we'll do, look at this. What we are doing is, we are putting it in a new list object. A new list object where we have modified country space name to country name, country space code to country code, birth rate, and so on. Okay, now what we'll do, take a look at stats.head. So what do we have now? Notice country space name is not there, country space is removed. Purposefully, we have reinitialized. We have put everything in a list object inside a tuple, and then we have initialized the columns like this. So what is the advantage? It is a convenience. Take a look at this, stats dot C, and do a tab now. Notice country name and country code will come up. When there is a space, this will not come up. So now if you say country name, you're able to access a single column. A single column is a series. Again, that is a maybe I'll be covering in the coming days, guys. But for now, think of this as a data frame, like with a single column. Okay, or in other words, one column. Pandas terminology is called series, guys. Okay, if he says stats dot, give us various column names. But let's see. Back to head. So here is the head. And now one more time, say stats dot country. This one up here. country name. You can also do this country name dot head. Okay, so in other words, let's say, come here. What we just did is, this is a data frame. When you say country name, you're just extracting this part of it. And what is this one? This one, you can think of this is also acting like a data frame of a single column. It's called a series. A single column is like a series, but it is acting like a single. Whatever you can perform generally on a data frame, we can also perform on this one, guys. That is what is special. Then come here, take a look at this. Country. Again, you can now use a bracket. This is another way to access a single column, country name. Okay, but let's say you want to access two columns, country name and birth rate. Let's put a comma here. Let's put this here. Let's put this one. Take a look at this. Okay. So if you say country name and birth rate, notice it will give you an error. What we need to do is, notice it says a key error. It is not understanding what is happening is, we need to, if you're trying to access more than one column, give a list object inside that bracket, like that. Like that. And now notice we're able to access country name and birth rate, which means now we're accessing country name and here is birth rate. What is this? Think of, you're taking this one, put this here, get rid of this one. Think of this one is here, and these two are like a single data frame. A data frame of two columns. This is called, again, slicing and dicing. This is called subsetting. You're extracting a part of a data frame. This is also part of the slicing and dicing, guys. Again, in the world of Javas and .NET, you need to write nested for loops. You need to and object-oriented programming, classes, methods, and all those things is what we do. Whereas here, we really need the object-oriented programming is one way to think of that much detail of that programming, guys. Everybody with me, guys? Quick yes, please. Okay, so let's see. Come back here. Take a look at this. 8 country name and birth rate. One more time. Come down here. So what this is doing is, not only are we extracting all the rows, but rows 4 to 8. 4 to 8 is 5 to 9. And again, the mantra, inclusive versus exclusive. So this is again slicing and dicing. We have earlier discussed in the world of numpy arrays and things like that, guys. Okay. Let's also, you can also do the reverse. You can give first the column names and then the rows. You'll get the same thing, whether you get the column names or the rows, guys. And now take a look at this birth rate dot head. So what is this? Birth rate is a column. It's giving the top 5. Remember, head means top 5. Okay, guys. Then again, internet users dot head. This will give you the internet users. This is called a series object, but for simplicity, we'll call the data frame with a single column. Okay, now take a look at this, guys. One more before we do this one. Here is result is stats birth rate multiplied by internet users. Okay, so let's run this one. Notice what is happening is, if you take a look at result, it looks like this. What is happening is, it is going into this, or I think we have it here. Put this back. So get rid of this, get rid of this. What's happening now is, it is taking each birth rate, it is taking, multiplying with the associated internet users. You get a new value. Let's say it's putting the new value here. It will repeat the same thing here. Multiply these two. What is this? This is element by element wise operation or vectorized operation. And what is this? Result is now acting like a series object, or what is called a data frame with a single column, guys. Okay. Now, why is that important? Take a look at this. Back to stats head. Notice we have 2, 3, 4, 5 columns here. And what we'll do, we'll say stats mycal equals to stats birth rate multiplied by internet users. Doing something like this, where we're saying, hey, multiply this column with this column. And now take a look at stats dot head. Now notice what happens. If you scroll down towards a little bit right hand side, what happened is, we created a new column, or we can say we have added a new column. For the sake of simplicity, just to show you how to add a new column, we multiplied these things. But if you meaningfully think, if you multiply the birth rate with internet users, is that meaningful? That is not really meaningful. That's not a meaningful operation. But what we have done is, this is how we add a column. You give whatever column name you'd like to. We're calling this as my calculation, and you put whatever you'd like to put, guys. That's how you add a column. Let's say now back here. Now take a look at this, guys. Stats.drop. So go back here, scroll down a little bit here, and come here. Let's snap this one. Put this here. So roughly we have, there it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And now what we'll do is we'll say stats.drop, and let's see what happens here. Take a look at this. Stats.drop. What happens is, if you scroll down, it has only 5 columns. So what does drop to drop is actually deleting a column. This is how we add a column, and this is how we delete a column. But there is a small catch, guys. There is a catch is, visualize, when you say stats.drop, visualize what is happening is, a copy of this data frame is getting created. Well, for the sake of simplicity, I will say this is a copy of the data frame. A copy of this data frame is getting created, and what's happening? It is this column here which is getting deleted. So this data frame has only 5 columns, but now back to the original data frame, which is stats. Let's come down here. So here is stats. Notice, scroll down here, there is still that calc, my calc. So you try to drop a column without actually modifying the original data frame. Everybody with me, guys, please? Yes, we should be able to insert it. There are insert commands and things like that. Those are slightly too detailed, but let me focus on something more important, Ravi. So let's see how we do that, guys. Back to, so one more time, stat set we have seen. So here is S2. When we do a drop, what we are doing is we are putting it. Earlier we did not. When we just said drop, we did an object name. Now we're giving an object name called S2. And S2 is here. S2.head. And so now S2 does not have it, but let's see if I'm showing you how to drop it. Okay. Let us say we want to drop it. Want the change to reflect in the same thing you do. You say drop, giving a new object name, you give the same object name. Okay. So if you initialize it to the same name, so notice we have dropped it, and now the 6th column is not there. You initialize it to the name. That is one way of doing it. There's also another way. Maybe we'll be covering. So again, take a look at this one. One more time, we're repeating the same thing. Add a column called myCalc. Scroll down here. Add a column called myCalc. So if you scroll down, myCalc is added. Then now come down here. We'll drop name. And now notice what we are doing is we're not initializing. We're not giving the same name, but what we are doing is we are saying in place equal to true. We're giving an argument called in place equal to true. Okay. So let's say do that. There it is. And now notice only 5 columns are there. So this is actually modifying the original data frame. If you say in place equal to true, it will be the original data frame. You don't have to reinitialize in place equal to true. That is true just one. Okay. You don't need to by heart it, but you just need to have an idea and things like that, guys. So let's say, now take a look at this df stat. See what is happening here. Df equals to stats means, for the sake of simplicity, I'm that as df dot. Instead of stats, I'm just renaming it as df here. Back to 5 columns. Now take a look at iloc. Iloc, what is it? It sounds like index location. What is it doing? It is actually returning the first row. Aruba, ABW, birth rate, internet users, the first row. Iloc, it's like index location. 0 means give me the first one. 0, a 0-based location, so 0 is 1. So it just looks like a column, but it is really the first row, guys. So that is what is iloc. Now take a look at this. iloc 01. This is going to return the country code. No, sorry. Returning the first row and the second row. we have given a list of 2 rows, 0, 1. So in other words, iLoc is slightly confusing. It's like index location. It's going by index 0 and 1. 0, pick up this one, pick up that one, is what it is. Now take a look at this. iLoc of 0, 1, 2. What is this? Again, a powerful slicing and dicing, guys. We want the rows, zeros and ones, and let's say the third column, let's run it. Take a look at this. Birth rate, 10.2 and 35.2. Everybody with me, guys? Similar to what we have seen in NumPy and things like that, a similar kind of syntax is evolving again. And let's see. Now here comes a slightly different one. Here is a loc. Loc is slightly different. Let's see how it is different. Loc is also again, loc of 0 is giving you Aruba ABW, which is nothing but the first row. But there is a subtle difference, guys. Let's see. We'll say loc of 0, 1. See what it does. Looks like that is also giving the same thing as iLoc. Now take a look at this. Loc 0. And what we are doing, like location, you read that as location. Specific columns, birth rate and internet users. So let's say birth rate and internet users. In the second row, give me the third column and the fourth column. Now take a look at this one. Back to iLoc. I'm jumping between loc and iLoc, guys, but stick with me. Be a little bit patient here. 0, 2. 0, 2. This is inclusive. This is exclusive. That is your mantra. So it starts with 0, 1. It's picking up 0 and 1, all columns, iLoc. Then again, iLoc colon. This is like star dot star. This is just like. So now it's giving everything, 195 rows. We looked at 195 countries. Now take a look at this iLoc. iLoc colon 1. The right hand side index is exclusive, so I think this will only give you the first one, Aruba. Next, come here. Loc of 1. 1 till the end means 2 till the end. Afghanistan, Angola, and so on. Except 1, it's giving everything. Now 0, 4, 2. This is like a step. 0 to 4, which means 0 to 5, which means 0 to 4, because 5 is exclusive. In 0 to 4, it is picking up every second one. Okay, so let's say, come here, do a little bit of cleaning. 0, starting, it picks up this one, ignore the second one, pick up this one. By the time it comes here, it has reached its index 4, which is 5. Okay, so what's happening? The 2 blue trays are being extracted. You're given that. You're given this one. And what will happen? Visualize these 2 are being, these 2 are coming, one more time. Ideally, these 2 behind the scenes will be treated as one separate data frame. Every time you slice and dice it, what's happening is it's a copy paste which is happening. So this will end up being a different data frame, guys. That is something we need to remember manually. Now take a look at this, guys. Let's say I'm going to make some changes here. Let's say this one. I need to use this one. Say it's all. Say I'm going to use this one. Close this one more time. It's all. There you go. So now emp ID, control code. So we don't have a emp ID. What we can do? We can say country. See what happens? So there it is. We are saying give me the first and the second rows, the country name. Okay guys, again the mantra is slicing. But before we proceed further, let's come back here. Take a look at df. Okay, here's df.head. The top 5 rows. Notice this is the index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 0 based index is what is following. Now what we'll do is df1. df is the original data frame, set index, country code, and let's see how that looks like. Take a look at this. Now what happened is the country code. This has become a new data frame, df1. And what is happening is we change the index. What is this one? This looks like it is a row index. This is actually called a row index. The index has changed from 0, 1, 2, 3 to the country codes. Generally, the is not a duplicate. You don't have 2 country names with the same name or with the same. Maybe you may have two with the same name. East Germany, West Germany, now they are Germany. But the codes will be different. So generally you will have the index as something like a something which is not a duplicate. So there it is, guys. So we have set the index from now. This is row index. Why is it important? Understand. Now take a look at this one. F1 of ABW to AGO. So scroll down here. If you say this one, what is ABW to AGO? It's picking up this row up to this row. So what's happening? The AGO is exclusive. No, it's inclusive now. The row index is inclusive. DF1, sorry. Now it has a, it looks like it is inclusive and inclusive. ABW to AGO, the first three rows. For a moment I thought this is exclusive, it will only pick up these two, but it looks like it is picking up. For iLoc and loc, I think it is exclusive. If you don't use an iLoc, when you use the row index, it's picking up these things. Are you all catching it, guys? Can you give me a quick yes, please? Understand loc and iLoc, what is the main difference? I'm still trying to make you understand. I'm still trying to come there. So for that, you need to understand that there is something called this is called a row index, guys. And let's see, now take a look at birth rate, ABW to AGO. For the sake of simplicity, I'm extracting only 3. So there is the birth rate, a specific column for the 3 rows is what it is. Let's come here, birth rate and internet users. Let's see how that looks like. Here, what is it saying? It's saying, hey, something is not found. Birth rate and internet users is a problem. One more time, when you give a single bracket, if you have only, if you're extracting only one column, use a single bracket. But if you have more than one column, you need to use 2. So here is what you do. Use 2 brackets, birth rate and internet users. Run it. There it is, birth rate and internet users. Okay, guys, in other words, we need to make sure we're giving like list object is what it means. So if you say what is the type of this one, that should be a data frame. Take a look at this. Type of bracket missing. Say and then it's a bracket. It should be a data frame object. Okay, guys. So now a little bit deep into loc and iLoc. One more time. This should give you the first row iLoc. And we are going back to the DF, which is the original data frame. Now, guys, now let's say, give me the first and the second row one more time. The repetition in the second rows. This will be 0 to iLoc. Again, we're using iLoc. We're extracting. My bad. 0 and 3. We didn't give a colon here. We gave a comma. Okay. But now take a look at this, guys. Give 0, 1 rows and columns 0, 1. Let's see how that looks like. Multiple columns. Now what are we doing? We are using row indexes and column indexes. Pardon me. More precisely, this is the row index and this is the column index. Okay. Next, come here. The same thing. One more time we are repeating. Notice we only want the 0, which is the first row, but the first 2 columns. First row and the first 2 columns. Everybody with me, guys? In other words, what I'm trying to convey is when we are using iLoc, we are specifically using the row indexes and the column indexes, guys. So stick with me. You'll understand why I'm emphasizing it. Again, this is going to be 0 rows in a single column. The first and the second rows in the first column. Then again 0, 2, that is the first and the third row. Okay. And back to df1. Now take a look at this, guys. df.iloc double colon minus 1. Double colon minus means it starts from back. Double colon 1 means multiple of 1. Every 1, 1, 1, 1 row, that is nothing but it's reversing the complete data frame. We have seen something similar to this in NumPy also. Okay, that is something I will ask you to, I will force you to remember. It's like you're reversing it, guys. One more time, back to df1. Goes from 0 to 4 with every second one, and column 0 to 2, which is 0, 1. So let's see how that looks like. There it is. Something what we have seen, we are only extracting similar. Now here comes loc one more time. Until now we've been focusing on iLoc. Now here comes loc. Let's start with loc 0, which is same as iLoc. We'll give you the first one. Back to df. Now take a look at this. df1 dot loc of ABW. Okay, so in other words, we'll say df1 dot head. First, let's take a look at df1 dot head. So the first one, more precisely, is this row. So now if we say df1 dot loc, notice what happens? We're just getting Aruba. We're not getting the index. And what is happening? We are now using the row index. Let's say we'll put a 0 here. Okay, I think it's just okay. Now it is not giving. This is a difference. But let's put an iloc here. Iloc here. So notice it is working. For loc, 0 doesn't work. What's working? Let's say change that to ABW. This is row index. That is the difference. In other words, let's say come here, discard it, put this here, choose this one. This is called row index. Okay, but let's say we have something like a 0, 1 and 2. Okay, what is this? This is index. We'll call this, for the sake of simplicity, as data frame index or row index. This is just a pure index, just an index. iloc is going by the index, whereas loc is going by the row index or the data frame index is what you can think of. Everybody with me, guys? Quick yes, please. Okay, good one. And let's see what else we have. There's a loc. Okay, so one more time, notice we are going, loc goes by data frame index. Scroll down. And what do we do? I think we're missing a bracket there. So let's put a bracket. Let's run it. ABW and AFG. Okay, one more time. Multiple of 2. All the rows are multiple of 2. Country name to internet users in DF1. Let's see how that looks like, guys. Country name, birth rate, and internet users. We did not get the income group. So we're using a colon. Colon means continuously. Whatever is there in the middle, you pick up all of them, is what is happening. And every multiple of 2, every second row is getting picked up. So out of 198, that is, 98 is only half of them. Cool? Okay, guys. So I think that will complete the Pandas data frame. Pandas data frame is a sea, or is an ocean of functionality, guys. Ocean, sea of functions and ocean of functions are there. We cannot cover everything. But what I would like to do is tomorrow, I will give you a first touch of what is our machine learning case study, and we'll try to enter into the world. To enter into the world of machine learning, we need a little bit of pandas, a little bit of NumPy, a little bit of object-oriented programming, and a little bit of functions, guys. That's what all these days I've been trying to help you catch up and things like that. So tomorrow we'll get started with a little bit of machine learning and try to dig a little bit deep and try to get a feel and see how the things work in the world of machine learning, guys. So now let's go ahead and open it up for a few questions, guys. What is the use of in place? In place equal to true means you're telling to make the change within the same data frame. Don't create a copy of the data frame, but create the same data frame. Okay, Santosh? Okay, there is Manasa for the feedback form. Some of you have been requesting that. Let's see what the other questions. 2 brackets are necessary. When you're giving more than 1 column per year, 2 brackets are necessary. If you're just giving 1 column, then the brackets are not necessary. Okay. Was not continuous, so I did not understand topic. How to join 2 data frames? Oh, okay. So again, joining data frames, all those things are a little too detailed, Santosh. I wouldn't go into that one. We are trying to get to the meat of this this one. This is about giving you an idea of the machine learning and deep learning concepts. So we'll not go into all the possibilities of those things, guys. Where is the data stored? Data is stored in your RAM, short and sweet. If you want, you can save it to a file. Yeah, Lavanya, I got your thing. We will be looking at those things. We'll be reviewing those things. Can you manipulate PDF like CSV? That's unstructured data. I think who's asking that one? Let me see. PDF. That is Mahesh. Short answer is yes, but not as straightforward as CSV file, Mahesh. It will be slightly different. Yeah, I'll be uploading this one to the GitHub site. Material, I already shared the GitHub location. Okay. How to get rid of the help function if shell has been deleted. Oh, just reload it, refresh it, Ajit. You're testing me. That's okay. But just refresh the thing and I think it will start from. Let me see. One more time. We'll share the GitHub. See if it is here. Here we go, guys. This one. Is this here? Pasting it in the chat window. There you go. There you go. Thank you, Pranusha. Init function not required. No, we are not writing a class here. It is internally. We're just when you call read CSV, it is giving you an object, so you do not explicitly have to call that. Yes, you can connect pandas to Oracle, SQL, or whatever it is. You can connect it everywhere and things like that. And so in other words, you can also execute SQL commands in pandas, guys. There is a separate package for that. I'm using Edit Plus. Edit Plus is a text one that if you're asking text editor, Jupyter Notebook is where we are running all our commands, guys. Everything is, I plugged it into that GitHub site. Iterator and iterable. Tough question. Let's see. Both of them, they are like lists. I think I know there is a subtle difference. I really need to verify that before I can answer. But they are like lists. You should be able to call a next and you should be able to arrive at the next object. That is generally done by the for loops and things like that. A little bit more depth is there. I don't really recall that one. Tport is AutoML and things like that, Srikanth. Those are way too ahead. When you try to tune your things like that, you can use when you want to run multiple algorithms at one time and try to find out which one is the best one. You could use tport. There is also, I think, AutoML, and there are other library packages also. It's too early to talk about that. Got an error to create environment in Anaconda. Okay, you can start with whatever you have originally. You don't need to create explicitly a new environment. Just start with whatever you have. We not create class in Panda. It is internally created, Ravi. When you say read CSV, it is creating a data frame object and giving it to you. Power BI data. Pandas is a very powerful thing, Cosikesh. We will use it in various scenarios, in machine learning and visualization and things like that. Whenever you want to get the data, you just start with NumPy arrays and data frames. Didn't get any response. I haven't received anything, Priya, from you. Oh, sorry. If you have received my response, okay. I will try to get some feedback forms that you're filling up from Mansa and see what you have. How to create columns using NumPy. You don't create columns like how you create in data frame. What you can do is you can convert a NumPy array to data frame and then you can add columns. Or that's a short way. Matplotlib is a package for visualization. I will probably not get a chance to go much into that, but I'll give you a high level. I'll be touching at a high level, guys. Yes, categorical data is our country name, country code is our categorical data. That's textual data. Rama, I have just shared the GitHub application, but you should be able to get the material from there. Okay, just look at the chat window. You'll be able to access the GitHub. Convert JSON to CSV. Short answer, yes, you can convert. Again, pandas has many functions which can do that for you. Sometimes you will need some customization to be done before you convert it to um, CSV from JSON. That depends on scenario, guys. Okay. Okay, guys. So starting from tomorrow, it's going to be slightly heavy. So just prepare yourself. Today is Monday. We'll keep it a little bit light, and we'll try our best to simplify and try to understand some of the aspects of machine learning and things like that, guys. So, triple in Python. Triple. Okay. Read JSON. Yeah, read JSON to JSON, Anil, I think are the functions in pandas. Okay. Project in Python, or we need to use a framework. Oh. So again, you can you can start with a few folders separately, Jyotsna, where you put the source code and all those things separately. There's also a framework which will generate these folders. You can use Visual Studio Code also. Okay, so for now, that's okay. Just try to hang in there, and we'll come across pandas data frames in the coming up days, and hopefully that will help you in simplifying it. Great. Okay, guys, for today, I will stop it here. Let's continue the journey from tomorrow, and we'll go from there, guys. Allow me to sign off. Thank you again. You guys stay safe and keep learning. Thank you, and bye for now, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.